Welcome to MacroCode. If you are new to this channel, consider subscribing. So today we are going to proceed with our electronics documents management system. So if you are new to this channel and you haven't subscribed, just consider subscribing, like our video, comment down below, and let's begin this particular episode. So I'll just go through our electronics documents management system for those who have not been following. And then we'll begin some of the items that we are going to cover today. So as you can see, this is our dashboard. So this is how our dashboard looks like. We have our file request. So for the file request, we have various things that you can do here. So you can request a file. So that's one of the process. And here you can select the department. You can select the extension. That is the file extension. We have the file name, the request date. So here you can say this is the date you are requesting the file. Yeah, you need the file up to this particular date. Then you can provide the comments. I'll say here good. So if you add, then you'll see the file as pending approval. So this is how it looks. I'll just come here and say you can view. So this is how it looks like. You have the file request, you have the approved by, all these details. Then here I can come here and also say approve. So I can approve this. I'll provide my comments. I'll say approved. Then I can approve my file. Then you can also view. So whenever you approve, then you'll notice that you only have one action here. You can't approve or edit or even update. So I'll go to documents as well. So you can request a document, provide the document name. We say here electronic document system. Then you can say this is electronic document system. You select the folder, you come here, do that, select that department. Then you also have the retention period, the retention action. Then you select a document. Then you provide the comments. Say here good document. Then I'll add this. So as you can see here, we have the document here. You can see it's draft. I want us to order. So you can see here we can order the document based on the ID. So let's go to documents. On this list, I want to say here dot order by descending. So you can say here action. Then you can do here created on. So I want to ensure that you're able to have the first records that were created appearing on the list before, so that you're able to action that fast. So if you are watching our video and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribe, and we will really appreciate. So our app is launching, and as you can see, that's fine. So what I want us to do is if we go to documents, active documents. So this is you can see descending. So we'll be having, so let me see here, created on, this is third, or you can say here order by this one. So let's see, order by ID. So this is documents. Yes, let's check. So I want to ensure that we are ordering the documents based on the ID, and we are able to view that. So let's just launch our app. Go to documents. Then on the documents, so you can see here we have our ID is here. You can say here order by ID descending. Documents, this list. I think we'll see that, how that looks like. Now, let's just launch. So I want us to, so every document that you create, so we'll see that why it's not loading, but it's okay. So you can see here we have the, when we try to order this, you can see here it is actually on the last bit. So here we can actually approve a document. So what you can see here, you'll notice that we have document details. We have the document number. These are the details that we had created. We have the version, and you also have the history. Then here you can approve. So you can say approved document. So I'll say here approved, and you can see here we have a document approved. So we don't have anything that is still pending. Then you also have clients. You can create a new client. You can say this is macro clients. Then you can say this is macro clients. So we say here clients. Then you have these as address. You can say this is our phone number, contact person. You have macro code. Then you can add that. So these are clients. So you can see how our clients looks like. So that's fine. Then we have our folders. So you can create our folders again. So I'll create a folder here, for example, for HR. So I'll say here employee handbook. Then here you can call our folder employee handbook. Then the parent here we can say HR policies. So if I create this, so that's our folder. So if we go to HR, this is our main folder, and I click view. So this is how our folder structure looks like. So you can have a lot of so let me just zoom it there. You can see here we have our HR policies, which is our parent folder. Then we have the subfolder. This is the folder structure, and you can see what we had created here. So if you create another folder, and we say here we have handbook, can do handbook 2021. Can say this is handbook 2021. Then we have these as employee handbook. Then I save. I also have another handbook, employee handbook. I do handbook 2022. So I'll do here 2022. This is 2022. Then I save. Then we do another one, handbook 2023. So if you have any features that you want to see on this particular application, just comment down below and we'll be able to incorporate. Then I can add that. Then if I go to handbook, so you see this. So if I click here, view. So this is my folder structure, and you can see I have the various handbooks. So you see I have the handbook, and I have 2021, 2022, and 2023. So this is how our folder structure looks like, and you're able to, it depends. So if you go to our active and we say here HR, then here I'll do, if I just do here view, then if I open this, you can see this is how it looks like. So but once I click on one of these, I say for example employee handbook, so it'll take me to the handbook and I'm able to view the folder structure. So you can navigate that way. So that's simple as that. So if we go back to our app under audit trails, so yesterday we were able to do update some of the details on our audit trails. You can see here we have the full name, table name, and also you can view the audit trails. So you can see how it looks like. We have the user, we have the action, the table that was affected, the timestamp, the primary key. So let me zoom in. So the primary key, you can see we have it here. The old values, because this was addition, we don't have the old values. So the new values that was added, you can see we have them here. So you're able to see all those new values. But in case this was, if we go to audit trails, in case this was a modification, you can see we have a modification here. So for the modification, there are some things that we are able to see. So here you have the user, you have the action type, you have the table, the timestamp, the primary key, the columns that were affected, the old values. You also have the new values, you can see here. So it depends on the values that we have. Then you have our users. So this is our users. Then we have, I don't know if we had updated something. So here we can't edit a user. So you'll be able to adjust that. You also have the roles. So you can see here you can create. You can create some roles in the system. You say this is a finance officer. So this is a finance officer, this is a finance officer, then you can add. So this is our role. Then you have the permission, you can assign permission to a role. So you can see here, and this is it. Then you can assign it. So you'll be able to list it here. Then you have the user profile. These are more of modules that we are doing. So what I want us to also do, we also have these sections for departments, countries, system codes, system code details. So for example, yesterday we were able to add here system codes. So if we go to document status and click view, then you'll be able to see the parents. So this is the parent and these are children. So we have here the document status as draft, and you can be able to see draft, pending review, and all these other statuses. So that is one. So what I want us to do, I want us to manage some user details. For example, editing a user. So you can see we can't edit a user, which is very critical. So let's go to users. So here I'll come here and say, where is our code? I'll just go here under users, and I can create a razor page, and I'll do this as users. So you can say this will be edit. So you can do here edit. So once you have that, then we can actually copy the create action. I'll copy this. Then you can say this is edit user. We have here update here, system user details. So that's one. Then I want us to ensure that we are able to update the user details. So how do we do that? So what we need to do, we need to ensure that if we go to our actions here, we can copy. First thing is we need this particular get. So method. So this action here, let's have it down here. We'll just have it after this. Then I can add this here, and you can say this is edit. Then we have this, but also we need this post for editing. Then I'll come here and I can update this here. So you can see this is edit, which is actually post. Then our application user, the first thing, we can actually check if that user exists. So I'll say here if I'll do here vm.id sorry, say here id. Do you have id here? We don't have the id here, so we should add our id here. So I'll just come here and say id. So we check on our users table. If we go to users table, we should be having here our ID should be in string. It should be actually a string. You can see this is a string. the way we have it here. So let me zoom it. So this is how it looks like. So it's actually good. So if we go to our app, so this is our ID, and this is actually our view model. So if I go back, I should say if ID is equals to null, I can say, let me just do here string dot is null or empty. If that is null or empty, I can actually do something here. So you can say here, let me close this, and you can have something here. So you can say error invalid system user details. But if the user exists, we can have here application user. Then you can say user. Then we do here await user manager find async. Then it will give us the user details. Now you can say update user. Then we can say here if that user is not found, then we can also do that. But if the user is found, then we can do user application details. Then here, instead of doing now create, so remember we are now updating our user details. So what should happen? So we should not be able to create, but we should do here user manager. Then we can say here update. So you can say update async. Then we are not passing this. I'll just update the user. And also another thing is we are not now providing the, do you have password here? No, we don't need to pass the password. Then you say system user details updated successfully. Then that should be okay. Now, if we go to our edits, I need to remove certain things. For example, we need to remove the user, the password I mean. So the password will be able to see how you can update or reset the password. So here you'll say update user. All these other details is okay. But for the action, we'll say here edit. Then you can say this method, can do your post. But there's one thing that we need to do. We need, when we are editing our record, we should actually have some hidden values. You see these ones? I don't know if on our application user we have created on, I think we didn't, we have created on, I think so, yes, here. But we didn't add created by, I don't know why. We should be able to add that. Now I'll go back to our edit, then I can actually, let me just borrow, you see this validation, then I can have it on our edit user. So I can have it here, but we don't have the created by, so I'll just remove that. We'll be adding that as we go along. So let's see how that looks. So let's relaunch our app and see. So if you're watching our video for the first time and you haven't subscribed, just consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. So tell us where you are watching from, and in case you have any suggestion on this particular application, we'll be happy to get your comments. So tell us where you are watching from. So if you go to users and users here, so this is our users. As you can see here, we have the username, email, full name, address. So we do here, for example, this user, if we say edit. So we've not updated, we've not updated. So if we click here, we've not updated our index page. So if we go to index, then we should not be having delete. So let's just remove delete here. I'll also remove here. But now we need to have here we should say for the here you should say details. Then here we should actually say edit, and you should pass the ID. So you'll say sp root, then ID, We do equals to, we do here model, we can do here item. So where is it? This is the user. So we'll do here user dot ID. So that's it. And if you check on our controller for edit, we are expecting, so here there is something wrong that we've not done. So here we should be expecting ID. So then we should also have something like this. So I'll just come here and do this. So we should be able to check if this is null. So if that is null, we run that. But before that, we should be able to get updated user. We should pass the ID. If we don't have the ID, then here we should be returning our view with the user data. So here, if we go to our edit, we are expecting application view model. Now, there is one thing that we need to do here. So here, instead of this, we can actually say we can expect models, then we can expect application user. So, or let's just have a view model. It's okay. So once we have that, we can come here on edit. Once we have this, you've seen how we were able to have these details here. So what I want us to do, we can do mapping. So you can say if, so you can say here variable. So let me just come here and say user details equals to, you can see. So we need to have our ID, username, all these details, ethnicity, country, and role. So this one, ethnicity is an int. This one is, let me check here. Ethnicity here we can do nullable as well, country nullable as well. Then here, this will be gone now. And also another thing, we need to say here, I can say here VM. Let me just do VM. I can do here, I need now to have the roles that have been saved, selected. So I'll save dot role ID. Then on our user, I'll also say here VM dot user user. So this should be this country. So I'll say here country ID. Then here ethnicity, I'll also do the same thing. Do VM dot ethnicity ID. Then, so this is how it looks. So what we need to return, this view VM. Remember our edit expects a view application view model. So let's try to see how this looks like. So I'll just put a breakpoint here, then we see how that works. So let's relaunch our app and see how it looks. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. So we'll go to users. Then here, I'll just go to edit. So we can edit this. I'll say edit. So we should be expecting a string. So you can see here, we have our ID, which is actually a string. Then it should give us a user details. So if we proceed, you can see here we have the user information. We have the current timestamp, the created on, and all these other details. You can see. Now, if we proceed to this point, our view model should be having values. So you can see our model has been updated with now new values. And we don't have the role ID. Yeah, I think we are not updated. So you can see now we have our view with update system user details. We don't have the first name and also these other details. Now, if I say this is John Kings, you can say here Mwangi, say here address, and you can say here we can provide the phone number. Ethnicity, you can select that. Country, you can select one of them. Then role, we can also select one. So we say update. So let's see if we'll be able to have our record updated. So if we come here and you say update, so you can see we are updating this user. It now has the country ID. Ethnicity was null before. Role was also null. So if we proceed, you can see there is an error. So what is the issue? So let's just come here. Try to update. Proceed. Let's check the result. So you can see here, it is telling us the duplicate username. So we have a duplicate username. So this is the user. So it's telling us we have a duplicate username. So if we check on our system, do you have a duplicate username? We don't have a duplicate username. So we need to ensure that when we are updating our user, we need to ensure that the details that we are updating is not duplicate, and we are not let me just come here. So this username and email address. So let me just, so here let's do this. So for the update of the username, let's remove the username. We can only update from there. So I'll remove the username here. So let's relaunch again. So it checks. So what the app does, you should be actually having a unique username. So you can see here, if you are trying to update, you can't update this particular information. So what you need to ensure that you can update any other information about the user. So let's check if that is the issue. So I'll go to users, and we should be able to update our user details. So I'll edit the same user, this one. So let me remove the breakpoints, and if we go, let's just go. Then here we can say John Mwangi. Say this is Opio. Say Jared. You can say here. You can say here phone number, ethnicity, country, and the role. So if I say update, if we move again, you say here, you can see invalid username. So what is the username here? Username is, let's check. The username here is null, so which is wrong. So if I just come here, let me just have here our username. If I don't want to update, so it should give us our username details, and that should be fine. So I think there is one thing that I want us to do. Instead of actually using the, let's just check here. Do you have email confirmed? That's fine. Okay, let's try again. So we go to username, we go to users, we say edit. Okay, this is John Mwangi Opio James. Okay, this is do that. Then we have this as that. Select here and say update. If we proceed, it's still giving us invalid username. So you can see here the username, it can only contain letters or digits. So our username is not having any value. So let's return, let's return our username here. Because yes, let's return it here. And also, if we go here, you can even return the username. Where was it? I'm gonna edit. Let's return it and see why it was not working. So we are editing our user details. So here, if we go to users, I'll say here edit. I'll do here, I'll say James Mwangi Karanja Opio. Then we say here, then we select here, I'll do that. So we say update. So it now says duplicate. So let's now check our username. If we say here update backend coders test, and you can say here this is test. So if I say update, proceed, you can say here it says what is it? Optimistic object has been modified. So we have certain errors here that we need to check why they are not working. So mostly we are updating the user here. I think there is something that we are missing from this particular code. Let me check. So here we are doing a user manager update. So what we need to do, I want us to do something. So here, I think I want us to do something. Instead of doing updates, you see this, instead of, this is not an update actually. We should actually be having an issue here. So I should call this user, then this is user. Then here, I should do something. I should be saying user dot address equals to, we should be updating our user from here, equals to vm.address. So that's what should happen. So you should be doing something like this. User dot first name, last name, user dot middle name, then user dot phone name, user dot role, then you have user dot username, user dot email, you have user dot normalized email, you have user dot normalized username, then you have user dot modify. Do you have modified on? I don't think so. So you can leave this here now. So what we should be doing, I think that's why we've been having problems. So we should be having this. So we should get the user here, then we should modify it this way. So let's relaunch our app again and see. So if you're new to this channel and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. So I'll just launch our app, go to users, Then I'll try to edit now this backend. Then I can say here John. I'll do here John Mwangi Opio and Jue. Then I'll just do here ethnicity. I'll do that. Then if I click update, so you can see our record. This is now our record updated, and you have details there. So we can do the same for macro admin here. And also say here this is macro test. I can do this. Then I can select the country, select the role, provide the address, and also ethnicity. Then I can update. So you can see now you can update our user details. Same case to this. I'll say here James Mwangi. Then I say here Njoroge. Then I'll say here testing, and this is phone number. I'll do here that and that. Then I update. So you can see we are updating that. You can also update the first record. So I'll do this. I'll select the ethnicity, country, and the role. So our details are now being updated. But now, for users, there are certain things that you can do for users. So I want us to update our application user model. You see this model here. Remember, we had extended the identity user, and we have the first name. So here you can also have the display name. So you can say this should be first name. So you can have how you want it to appear on our razor views. You can say this is middle name. You also have your last name. You also have your full name. Full. So this should be last name, middle name, first name. Then we have address. So if you're watching our video until this particular point and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. Tell us what you think about the series and what you feel we need to include in our application. We have here ethnicity, name. I'll also add the country. Say here country name. You can say created on. Then we can also have here role. You can say here role name. So there are some things I want us to do. One, created on is missing created by. So I don't know how that was happened. So here we should be having string, then we say created by. Then this should be application user, and here you say created by. So here you should say created by. Then one thing also is we need to have our, for ethnicity, we need to have the status of the user. A user can be active or inactive. So here we say status ID, and here we should be having here, can have here status. You can say here status. So a user status can be, the user can be active or inactive. So you can say here status. So that's what I want us to include. And remember, we've updated our model, so we need to run migrations. So if we go to our application DB context, there's some changes here that we need to do. So here we'll have to add, we'll say here, status, and so this should be status. And then we should be having our status ID, sorry. status ID here, then created by. So here we should say created by, and then here we should also say created by ID. So if you're watching our video until this particular point and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. So you notice 90% of you guys are watching our videos and you haven't subscribed. So if I go to tools, NuGet Package Manager Console, and I can say here add migration. Add migration, then we say updated application user details. Then press enter. So our migration file will be generated and we should be able to update our database just to ensure that we have some of the fields in our table. So as you can see, our migration file has been generated. We have the created by status, and we also have some indexes. Now let's update our database. So I'll just come here and say update database. So that's a simple way to do it, and we are using Entity Framework Core. So that's fine. So I just want to do that. Then you can see our table has been updated, and here we have our migration details added. Now there is one thing that I want us to do. So we need to have, whenever we create a user, we should be able to assign them a status, whether they're active or not. So you can see here for our users, our list of users, we don't know whether our users will be activated or locked. So we need to have those statuses here. So the first thing, we need to go and create our system codes. So here I'll create a system called users. So this should be users. So let me just say here users status system. I can call it system user status. Then here I'll call it system users status. Then if I add this, then I can go and create the options. So here I can call the first one is active and say active. That's our user status. I'll create another one called inactive. Inactive. We'll have a user who is inactive. I'll also have another one called disabled. Well, here I have disabled. Then you can also have another one called suspended. So it depends on some of the statuses that we'll want. Suspended. Then I can say okay. So if you go here and search for system codes, we say system users status, and I say view. So you can see I now have my statuses here. So I have my active status, inactive, disabled, and suspended. And this is the description created by admin. So you can see here. So you're able to see those details. So if you're following our video until this particular point and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. So if I now go to our app, whenever we are creating a user, we should assign it a status. We should assign it a status, and we should also assign it the person who created. Now let's go here to our users options here. Then where is the create? You see here. So here there is one thing that we need to do. We should have now created by, which you know how to get the created by. We have the user dot get user ID. So this will give us the session of the person who is logged in. So for those who haven't, who are following our video for the first time, so this is where we are getting the person who is logged in. So this is a method that we created. And how do you get that? So let me take you there. So this is how we are getting it. So this will give us the user who is actually logged in, and it will give us the ID. So remember, we are tracking the ID of the logged in person. So you are checking whether you are authenticated, then you are getting your name identifier, then it will return. If you are not logged in, then it will return null. Now, here we now have the created by ID, which is we are saying user.get user ID. But remember, we also have the status ID. So we should be able to know this user status is active. And now, remember what we've been doing in some of our sections. For example, when you're creating, you're able to get status in this particular manner. So I'll just copy here and go to our users. I'll paste it here. So if we check our system code that we just created, that is system users, I'll view it. So the code is this one. So I'll just go and say this is my code, but I want to assign any user that is created, I assign it a status called active. So I'll come here and assign it active. So I'll say this is active status. Then I'll just say here status.user.id. Then I'll be having my status as active. So which other model details that did we update here? I think we just added the created by, and we have the status. Now, that's one thing. So let's create a user and see. So if you go to our application DB, we have SPNet users. We should be having some two columns. So as you can see here, we now have the created by and the status column, and they are all null. So if we create a new user, we should be having the data on those two columns. So I'll just go to our, let's relaunch our application. So if you're following our series until this particular point and you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like the video, and also share. So tell us, suggest some of the items you want to see. So I'll go to our app under users, then we'll try to create a new user. We'll just go here and say, I'll come here and say, where is it? Let's create a new user. So I'll create a new user here. I'll say Joshua Kings. So this is, let's say here, this is an email. Joshua@gmail.com. Then we paste it here. Say this is Joshua Kimani. Say here Mbogwa. Then we say here, this is our address. Address. We have our phone number. Then we say ethnicity, country, all, and the password. I'll just put that. If I say add, you can see our user has been added. But now let's go to the table. Here, we should now see the created by and the status having a value for the new user. So you can see for the user that we've created, the created by here has a value, and for the status we also have an ID. So that means that's our first user. So let's create another user. I'll create another user here. You say terms@gmail.com. We have that, and then we say here terms. Say here Jared. Mwangi. Okay, this is testing. Okay, this is our phone number. Ethnicity, we'll select, then country, Ethiopia, role, then we provide the password. So if we add, we have that. So if we check again, we should be having now 2 users with the same thing. So let me just check. So yeah, so I think we have 2 users. So you can see here, we have these 2 users with the status and also the role. And you can see the status is same, which is active. Now we can display that status on this particular part and also the created by. So I'll go to system code, I mean the user's controller. Then on the index, I'll do here dot include. I'll do x x dot created by. That's fine. Then we can also do dot include. Let me say x dot status. Then also here, because you are not doing anything, you can say as no tracking. So that's fine. Then if we go to, remember how we've been having our statuses. That is our status. So here I'll go to documents. Then you can see how we've been having our status. So I just want to have the color codes. You can see here, this is some of the status. So I'll just copy that. Go to users index. Then here we need to have another table data. Then I'll paste it here. So here we'll be doing a user dot status. So we need to check now the statuses that we've just provided. So as you can see, this is our statuses. We have them here. We have active. So I'll say if it's active, then that guy is success. We have that color. We have status, the description. Also user, if it's suspended, then we have you can have that color. I'll also update it here. Then we can, if it's disabled or inactive, you can say you're disabled or inactive. Then we can have this. I'll change this here to status. Anything else, we can give it a different color. But also I want to have here created by. So I'll say created by, then dot full name. Then here we have we say created on. We'll also have here created by. Then we also have now status. So I'll have here status. So that is it. So you see here we have status, description, and that's fine. So let's update this. So I'm going to, let's relaunch our app and see how that looks like. So if you're watching our video until this particular point and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. So you notice 90% of you guys are watching our videos and you haven't subscribed. So here, if we go to users, so we should now, so you can see here we have an issue with it says object reference not set to an instance of object. So if you check here, we are having a status as null. So one thing is, if you check on our users, they are there are certain users with null status. So we need to ensure that we are able to take care of that issue so that we don't run into problems. You see this, we are having this issue because of that. So I want us to ensure that we are able to track this, check this if it's null before actually doing anything. What I want us to do, we can do here, put here the question marks. If we do that, that should take care of what we are doing. So I'll just come here. Sorry, I'll put question marks across. So if I just do that, that can be null, that can be null, this can be null, this can be null. Then I'll also put here, this can be null, and this can be null. No, let me just remove that. So what I want us to do is here on this particular option here, I'll put here, sorry, I'll say here I'll say user, then I can put that, I say dot status, I can also put comma, then I say description, then here I'll say double, then I can say here our status is not available. So that should take care of our null issue, and this we should not be having that problem. So let's relaunch and see. So where the status is not available, then we'll be having not available. But if we have a status, then you should be able to see that particular status. So let's launch our app. So I'll just go here to users. Then here you can see now our statuses. You can see those users with status, it's active, and here you can see we have this active statuses. Now, what happens if we edit a user? So this edit, should editing activate a user? I don't think so. So we should now be having, so you can see here, we can only edit this information here, provide the phone number, provide the country, the role, and we say update. But the statuses is still active. So this is how it looks. You can see our status that we've just added. So one thing that I want us to do, I want us to now provide various options here. So I want to change this particular section. So, and we are going to use what we had done here. So you see this, if we click here, then you have the actions. So that's what I want us to add on our users page. We can borrow what we've done on documents. So this is what we need to do. So you see here, so this is the code. I'll just borrow this. I think we had written it and we don't need to do much. But in case you want to access it, you can just pause and you write that. So I'll just go to our users. Then instead of this one, I'll just remove this and I can have my, so this one I'll be calling it users. So I'll change this to, I'll zoom it. So I'll have this as user, this as user, and you can only edit, let me just remove this. So let me format here. We'll need to change this to user. This is also user.id, user.id. But there are certain things that we need to have on our user actions. So on users, there are things that you can do. One, you can view, you can edit, then you can change, you can say here, reset password, reset password. You can also have another one for resend email, resend activation mail. So you can say here resend activation email. Then we can have another one. We say here deactivate account. Then we can have another, and you can say here activate. And say here activate account. So this is how it will look like. So I want us to remove one table data. We don't need this. That's fine. So if I just update our app, we should be having something different under users now. If I go to users, so you can see the actions that we now have. I shall remove also the view. So what we need to have here, we should say this is actions. Then I'll remove this edit. So if I update, you can see this is now how our app looks like. We have this particular system users. We have the created on, created by, and status. So here, if I click on that, you can see I have a deactivate account, activate account. So you should change the status here. I mean, so here you can say BI, say here email. So let's change some icons here. BI email. So let's try to do that. Account, say here lock. Say here open. So those are some of the actions that we can do on our application. Now, let's just open. Let's go there, and you can see here. So we have our users. Just go there, and here I can say, you can see we have various actions. So here I can, for reset, let's have some spacing there. Reset password. Update our app. Then you can see we have this. So we say here reset view. We don't have a details page for our application. So we can add our details page, then so that you're able to view the user. So let's go back here, and we can have a details page for our user. I'll go there and say details. So that is the details. Now we need to display the user details, and I want us to use what we have been using for all these other sections. For example, clients. I'll copy this. So you can see this is we are displaying actually in a tabular form. So I'll just go to details. I'll paste it here, but we should also borrow the model. I'll come here, details, and I can say here application user. So you say here this is user details. Then here you can say user details. So for user details, you can say here ID. This is ID. You can say here username. Have your username. We have address, phone number. You can say here normalized email. Sorry. You can also have normalized username. We have it here. Then a status, created by, created on. We have phone number. Yes. So I can also have first name. Here I can do middle name. I can also have your middle name. I can copy this and have it here. I'll say this is full name. This is also full name. And paste this down here. And here, let's check our table how it looks like for SPNet users. So here we have the ID, username, normalized username, email, we say a password, phone number, address, created on, first name, country, and the roles. So here I'll say country ID. Then here I'll say country. So this is country, then dot name. So if you're watching our video until this particular point and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. We notice 90% of you guys are watching our videos and you haven't subscribed. So if you're one of them, do us a favor. So we'll just do ethnicity, ethnicity.name, description, I mean. Then what other thing do we have? The role. So here I'll do role ID. Then this is role.name. So this is the user details. So we go to application user, we have the first name. So these are the details on how they are being displayed on our app. So we have the first name, middle name, last name, full name, ethnicity, created on, status, and role. So I think that's much okay. Now, if we go to our controller, we need to have our details. So I'll just copy what we have. I'll just copy what we have on edit here. And then I'll paste down here. So this one I'll say here, this is details. And you're expecting an ID. So I'll get here update. So I'll get here user. Then I'll call this user. Then I don't need this. So here what I'll do is I also don't need this. I just need to return the user details. So I'll come here and say view user. Then these will be details. Now if I go to index where we have view here, I'll just ensure that I'm supplying the details and the SP root ID is user.id. So that's much what I need. Then if I just launch our app, then we should be able now to see those details of the user. So let's launch our app and see how that looks like. So I'll come here and say users. Then if I click here, I'll have these actions. Then if I say here view, you can see I'm now able to see the details of the user. But now there are some things that we need to have. So what I'll come here and do, instead of doing user.find, I'll do here context.users. Then I'll say .include. I'll do here x. Say here x dot role. So I want to ensure I'm able to find the role. I'll also do here dot include x dot country dot include. I'll do here x dot what other thing? The ethnicity. Then here I'll say where, say x dot id equals to that. equals to that. Then here I'll day.find password default. Then what is the issue here? Telling us, let me just comment that. So here it's telling us, let's say this is a variable user, this can be null now, and I can do here dot as no tracking. So we have these user details now. So let's check, let's relaunch and see. So if you're watching our video until this particular point and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. So I'll just go here, then go to users. Then I'm able to click here and say view. You can see now I'm able to see what I wanted, which is I have here Jared, ethnicity, and I also have role. See, I have my role and I have my country, but there is one thing missing. Our status is null, so we need to update that. So how do we do that? Let's go back. Here we are missing status. We'll just add that and say include status. So once we have that, I'll relaunch our app again, and we should be having our status. Let's just go and see how that looks like. So I'll just go to our users, then we say here status view. Then we should see now our status here. You see, we have our status, we have the country, ethnicity, and we also have the country and role. But we can also have the code on this particular section. So if we go to our index, I can just copy what we have here, and I can have it reflected on our details. So here where we have status, I can do the same thing, but now here I'll be doing model. I'll say here model. So everywhere there is user, I'll do model, 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 model. Is also model, model, say here model. So that's fine. So let's relaunch and see. We should now be having our color code on our details page. So as simple as that. So if you're watching our series and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. I'll just go to users. Then here I'll say view. So you can see our status is now active. So we also have the created by, we've not added, that is the user who created. We also need to do that. So here we should also include the created by user. I'll say created by. So let me relaunch that. So you should now see the created by user with the details. So as simple as that. So on our next episode, we are going to cover how you can lock a user, suspend, and even reset their password. So if you go to users, I should see now the created by. So as you can see now here, I have my created by details. I already have my country and also the role. So as simple as that. So I want to leave it there for today. If you're new to MacroCode and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing, like the video, and comment down below. That is it, and